Hi, everybody. One of the remarkable things about America is that nearly all of our families originally came from someplace else. We're a nation of immigrants. It's the source of our strength and something we can all take pride in. And this month, Immigrant Heritage Month, is a chance to share our American stories. I think of my grandparents in Kansas, where they met and where my mom was born. Their family tree reaches back to England and Ireland and elsewhere. They lived and raised me by basic values: working hard, giving back, and treating others the way you want to be treated. I think of growing up in Hawaii, a place enriched by people of different backgrounds: Native Hawaiian, Filipino, Japanese, Chinese, Portuguese, and just about everything else. Growing up in that vibrant mix helped shape who I am today. And while my father was not an immigrant himself, my own life journey as an African American and the heritage shared by Michelle and our daughters, some of whose ancestors came here in chains, has made our family who we are. This month, I'm inviting you to share your story too. Just visit whitehouse.gov/NewAmericans. We want to hear how you or your family made it to America, whether you're an immigrant yourself or your great-great-grandparents were. Of course, we can't just celebrate this heritage. We have to defend it by fixing our broken immigration system. Nearly 2 years ago, Democrats and Republicans in the Senate came together to do that. They passed a common-sense bill to secure our border, get rid of backlogs, and give undocumented immigrants who are already living here a pathway to citizenship if they paid a fine, paid their taxes, and went to the back of the line. But for nearly 2 years, Republican leaders in the House have refused to even allow a vote on it.
Fully whenever you like.
I want us to remember people like Ann Dermody from Alexandria, Virginia.
Welcome back.
She's originally from Ireland.
Okay, everybody, let's just think about this. Let's just pull Obama said enough. He said enough. Let's just think about what he said. Let's just think about what he says. We're all immigrants. Whether you came on a slave ship and whether you came here, as my grandparents did, and we can change stuff back to English or Scottish or Irish. Remember when Obama went to Ireland or somewhere? I think it was in Ireland that he said, "I'm home" or whatever, some kind of madness like that. Okay, what I'm trying to get across to you is this: it's not the same thing. It is not the same thing. You gotta stop letting these people call us immigrants and saying we all come from immigrants. No. Before that act, the 1965 act, the Immigration Act, you can look it up. Before that, the majority of people in this country were like of British, some Dutch, and African slaves. So what you had was what you had was basically like Europe, West Europe and West Africa. You had Europe and you had people who came from slaves. And it was specific countries in Europe. We weren't talking about Czechoslovakia. We weren't talking about Slovenia. We were talking about very specific countries. Very specific countries. We're talking about Britain. We're talking about a few Dutch, and we're talking about people who came from African slaves. That's who it was. It wasn't this whole diverse, this whole bunch of people, not in big numbers. That's not the truth. There weren't huge numbers of all these different diverse immigrant groups. No, that wasn't the truth in this country for hundreds of years in terms of the majority people. We were not immigrants. We were property. There's a difference. We were chattel slaves. That's a difference. Stop letting people like Obama group us in with all these other groups. You're worried about Ben Carson, but at least he's come back and corrected himself. This is the whole party platform of the Democratic Party. But y'all don't get mad about that. Where's the anger for that? America should treat immigrants one way and natives another way. And people who were treated as property should get treated another way. There are groups here. But what Obama wants to do is take apart the groups so that you don't know the groups, so that you don't view yourself as a group that was treated as property. So you need special stuff. You need special allocations. Even native citizens who are white should not be treated in the same way that immigrants are treated. These are native people. There's supposed to be some value to citizenship. And what Obama is doing, and the Democratic Party as a whole, is convincing you that there's nothing special about you. You are just like the person that just crossed the border. I don't think that's who I am. So that I'm supposed to be the same. We come from slaveholders African slaves, but I'm supposed to be treated the same as somebody who just crossed the border or somebody who just got here from Syria because we all come from immigrants? And let's be honest about one thing. I'm going to make some people upset, but I want to be honest about one thing. Everybody says we're all immigrants if we're not Native Americans. We all immigrated here. That's not true. Let me tell you what happened. And it's an ugly, ugly story, one that I don't agree with. I don't agree with just slaughtering people and taking their stuff. But that's what happens. These people came in, the people who founded this country came in, slaughtered the Native Americans, and created a new country. It's not the same thing. That's called a conquest. That's not the same country no more. They took it over, snatched it from the people that had it, and created something new. And they used free labor from African Americans to do it. That's not the same thing as saying, well, no, it's not the same thing as saying, well, if only people who are native here are Native Americans. No, when they came here and created, when the founders of this country came here and created this, they created something totally new. It's totally new. Wiped out Native Americans, used us as free labor, chattel slaves. This is a totally new thing. It's not a continuation of when Native Americans had the country. They were defeated in a horrible way. In the most horrible way possible. The Trail of Tears, read about it, the most horrible way possible. But that's what happened. And citizenship in this country, no matter who you are, has responsibilities, and there's supposed to be certain rights that come along with it too. We are not like a nation of immigrants. This is what Obama wants you to believe. And he's a child of an immigrant. And he's kind of pushing that. And there's nothing wrong with being a child of an immigrant, but don't think that you and I are the same. Don't think that we are the same people, that we are the same thing and we should have access to the same things, that we have the same viewpoint. That's not the way it works. And at least the people who supported Trump are like understanding that there's supposed to be some benefits to citizenship. That's why they want a wall. They realize that America's in decline and there are no more benefits to that citizenship. That's a big problem. That's a big issue. We don't even understand it. We view everything through exclusion and struggle. So because these people are excluded and struggling, they're just like us. Because these people are excluded and brown, they're just like us. Because they look black or brown, they're just like us. That's not the right prism through which to see things. You have to see your life through lineage. You have to see what they have. They were able to come to a land that had more, and they have a homeland, and they were able to come to a place that has more and send money back home. You, me, descendants of slaves have none of that. Those are advantages. And being a descendant of slave is something that comes with it's a particular problem that comes with being, considered property, disposable, garbage, based on easily identifiable marks like dark skin, nappy hair. And then you have some people coming over here who have dark skin and nappy hair and who are saying, no, that's not true. And they can say that because they're not from here, which proves my point that immigrants are not necessarily the same thing as African Americans. Two different categories. So stop letting people tell you that because they're diluting our claim. Obama said something about we're a vibrant mix. A vibrant mix of what? A vibrant mix of what? Like how does that vibrant mix and all those flowery ways to talk, how does that benefit us? Like how does it benefit us to be a part of a flowery mix? Generational poverty is our problem. It's not, and so having immigrants live around us is going to fix that. That's like good for us. Or having some immigrants replace us in the workforce, that's going to fix that. That's going to be good for us. That's vibrant immigrant. That's having a vibrant immigrant population. It's not, so this is the problem. The problem is who is where we come from and what's being done about it. And right now we're being replaced. But the one thing you have to understand is that understand that these are very distinct categories. Right. And these people, you don't have to think anything. Immigrants aren't bad people. That's not the point. Some of them are trying to do the best they can with what they got. That's not the point, though. The point is that we are a unique category, and this is a country with finite resources. From welfare to Medicaid to Social Security, we have finite resources. And a country that's a country of only immigrants, as far as I'm concerned, isn't really a country. How you going to be a country just of immigrants? Well, what identifies you as American? Is there a culture? Is there a wealth? Is there a lineage? What does it mean to be American if it's just everybody's country? What makes it uniquely ours? And what makes our claim a unique claim if it belongs to everybody? You know, we don't have a shared fate. That's what we have to understand as black people. There is no shared fate of people of color. Well, people of color, all these people of color around the world get together. Heck, you can go to places, you can go to the continent of Africa and find people in different countries there that don't like each other. You know, people say Asians. There are a lot of Asians who don't like each other. There are a lot of Chinese who don't necessarily like Koreans. There are Dominicans don't like Haitians. But we're the only people who are so naive as to believe being people of color somehow binds us to a shared fate. It does not. And continuing to believe that will lead you to the same place we've been in for a lot of years, which is absolutely on the very, 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 very bottom. You know, it's funny. You know, Antonio Moore interviewed Sandy Darity from Duke University, you know, premier, you know, in terms of economics, this guy, professor there. And he said they're preferring immigrants, not descendants of slaves, because they're more docile. They understand, everybody understands that there's a difference between immigrants and us, except us. And until we start to understand that, we're going to continue to have a problem. And understanding that means to tell Obama to be quiet. You don't get to come here and tell me what to do or how to think or where we come from, especially when you're wrong. And understand that a lot of these immigrants are brought here because they're cheaper labor. They're being brought here to support white capital. It's very funny when people tell me, oh, Yvette, you just don't like immigrants. No, I don't like immigrants being brought here. You know, a lot of them, especially the ones who are desperate, not all of them are as desperate as you know, as we think, but some of them who are desperate are being brought here to be a part of a slavetocracy, to replace us as cheap labor. They don't have no rights. They work hard. This is not what you want. This is not good for your life. It's not good for my life. It's not good for the life of most citizens in this country. That is a problem. And I want us to understand that the same thing that Ben Carson said is basically before, and he walked it back. He walked it back. He did the right thing when he walked it back. But the same thing that he said is the same thing that Obama says, is the same thing that the entire Democratic Party says, and you all don't have a problem about it. When Obama says it, you say yes, that's right. We are a country of immigrants, and you say Trump is an awful person. That may be true, may be wrong, but you can't judge them being awful based on immigrants. We got to start supporting policies, not people. Policies, not people. It's not the truth just because it comes out of Obama's mouth. It's not the truth just because it comes out of another Democrat's mouth. And so, you know, at this, you know, that's what I want to say at this point.